Are you looking for a horror movie to watch this weekend? Well, I've got 10 underrated and new-ish horror movies for you to check out that are streaming right now on Shudder.
Into that.
If it's not revenge, what would you want?
The Apology came out in 2022 and the director is Alison Locke. This movie came out of nowhere and surprised the hell out of me, to be honest. It's an intriguing premise and an extremely well-written and paced thriller and horror movie starring Anna Gunn of Breaking Bad fame. She plays Darlene, a grieving mother who is looking for answers for the loss of her daughter, which happened over 20 years ago. I won't go into any more of the plot because I think it will spoil it for you, but I had a hell of a time with this movie, and there's some unexpected and violent twists and turns in this movie that make it great. I don't see too many people talking about it, unfortunately, and it's excellent. Definitely check it out.
Oh my God, it's you. It's been like 12 years. You remember me, right? Yeah.
Sissy, released in 2022, directed by Hannah Barlow and Kane Sennies. Brutal Australian horror comedy which challenges and covers the dangers of bullying. This movie is a freaking blast, dude. Sissy follows the story of two teen best friends, Cecilia, or Sissy for short, and Emma, who run into each other after they've done a lot of growing up over the years. Cecilia is invited to Emma's bachelorette weekend where she's stuck with her old bully from the middle school days and they've both grown up. I don't want to spoil it for you from here, but there are some crazy twists and turns in this movie and some really brutal scenes. I had a blast with this movie. It's a ton of fun. There's a ton of gnarly and hilarious parts. Definitely check this one out if you like this type of thing.
We weren't actually invited in the formal sense.
Or the informal sense. What?
Can we hit the reset button?
Who Invited Them, released in 2022, directed by Duncan Birmingham. Another comedy horror gem that has a very cool premise. Have you ever had house guests over that just won't take the hint and leave? Well, this is a horror movie that explores that exact concept. Two characters, Adam and Margot, have a housewarming party, and although everyone had a ton of fun, two guests linger after everyone departs. One nightcap leads to another, and then things get more and more creepy as the personal space and normal society interactions are just plain violated. This movie is a lot of fun, very uncomfortable at the same time, and there's some cool comedic elements too, which I think you'll dig. You'll recognize one of the actors from 13 Reasons Why. I really enjoyed this one, and I'm not inviting any strangers over anytime soon because of this movie.
Screams from below, cries from above. It's the end of the world.
Revealer, released in 2022, directed by Luke Boyce. If you like 1980s campy and gory slasher flicks, this movie is perfect for you. It's set in 1980s Chicago and follows a stripper and also a religious protester who are trapped together in a peep show booth and must work together to basically survive the apocalypse. What makes this movie great is the pairing of the two completely opposite characters. Their dialogue's a lot of fun. There's a lot of quips between them, and it's hard to blame one or the other's perspective with what's going on in the movie. The movie feels very supernatural, not only in mood, but also due to that killer 80s synthwave soundtrack. This movie's a total hidden gem, and I don't understand why IMDb rated it so low, to be honest. Don't skip it. It's a ton of fun.
I was potentially gonna go meet up with a dude. I've blown him off twice already, so
Come on, get a drink with your old pal, Robbie.
Christmas Bloody Christmas. Yes, I'm still going to recommend a Christmas-related horror movie, even though we're past the holiday. If you love Terminator and Christmas slasher flicks, you're going to have a great time with this movie. It's written and directed by Joe Begos. He did Bliss in 2019 and also VFW. Both are awesome horror movies. The story follows a young metalhead who manages a local record store who just wants to party, man. A supercharged robotic killer Santa Claus wakes up and goes on a rampant killing spree as she's forced to survive the violent night. The neon lighting and the lo-fi feel of the film alone really makes this a fun watch. It's got an intense, brooding, fuzzed out metal score too, which is a lot of fun. And that ending fight scene, man, is a blast. I don't want to spoil it for you. If you like gore, grindhouse flicks, this is a lot of fun.
Everything all right over there, my friend?
I'm not much of a bathroom talker.
You're not in the least bit curious as to what I have to say.
One of my favorites on this list, Glorious, released in 2022, directed by Rebecca McKendry, another awesome horror film. I had a blast with this movie, dude. It is such a cool premise. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but the main character, after a breakup, decides to stop at a rest stop and just take a break for a minute. He ends up locked in a dingy and disgusting bathroom and finds a mysterious figure that resides in the bathroom stall. This story is so utterly insane and also fun. If you dig Lovecraftian horror, this movie is one of the best horror movies that explores that concept. The universe has a favor to ask, man, and I'm not sure I could fulfill this one.
There's this guy that lives across the street, and he's always looking over here.
Looking over here, how?
Every time I look over there, he's just...
Watcher, released in 2022, directed by Chloe Okuno. More along the lines of a psychological thriller, more so than a horror movie. There's still plenty of a horror vibe, though, for this movie to get under your skin. The story of Watcher follows a young American woman that moves with her husband to Bucharest. She suspects, though, that one of the tenants in the apartment building across the street may be very interested in her, though. A serial killer known for decapitating women is in the area, and, well, you'll just have to check it out to see what happens from there. The cinematography and tension alone in this movie is awesome, and Maika Monroe gives a fantastic performance as Julia. Love her work.
An old bastard just wants revenge. There's something that he's doing. I need to wait till dark to tell you.
What Josiah Saw, this came out in 2021, so it's still kind of newish. If you're into the American Gothic horror genre, this movie is perfect for you. Starring Robert Patrick, yes, of Terminator 2 fame, and Nick Stahl from Fear of the Walking Dead, this movie builds up some serious tension and suspense with dark visuals and an extremely unsettling story about the buried secrets at a farmhouse that come to the surface after 2 decades. Let's just say it's a story about paying for your past sins. I won't go too much further than that. It's a creepy and unique as hell film that any horror fan who loves this kind of genre will absolutely love it. There's some awesome haunting moments too in this movie, and it's really cool to see Robert Patrick do a completely new role like this one.
You written anything I've read? Or?
I just wrote a book called Venus.
You wrote Venus. You're a best-selling author.
One of my favorites on this list, Scare Me, came out in 2020. So yeah, another new-ish movie, but one of the more fun horror movies on this list. Scare Me follows the story of a struggling writer and zombie novelist that are stuck in a spooky cabin during a dark and treacherous stormy night. Since the storm has locked these 2 characters indoors, they decided to have the ultimate goal of coming up with stories to scare one another. The performances are awesome as you watch them get into character and just telling each other progressively more and more scary tales. Things evolve, though, into more and more terrifying horror. I won't spoil it for you because the premise alone rules, and it's a wild ride to watch it unfold. Check this one out.
Then everything just blew up.
This one's a ton of fun. Color Out of Space, released in 2019. I didn't go any further back than 2019 because I wanted all new movies on this list. If you dig H.P. Lovecraft horror movies and you love Nicolas Cage, this is the perfect freaking movie for you. Cage has done some amazing horror films recently, and with Renfield coming out, he's not stopping anytime soon. Mandy would have made this list, but I don't consider it underrated, and it's a little older. Color Out of Space, though, deserves much more love with how insane this Technicolor descent into madness gets as the movie unfolds. If you love disturbing body horror, practical effects, vibes similar to The Thing in Society, yeah, this is a no-brainer. Don't skip this one. If you don't check out any other movie on this list, check out this one because it's great. Check out this list here for my most anticipated horror films of 2023, and this list here for my top horror movies about creepy dolls, including Megan. What are your favorite newer horror movies on Shudder? Leave them down in the comments below. Scare you guys next time.